Roman Storm, one of the founders of Tornado Cash, a crypto application that was a DAO, was recently tried and deadlocked on some counts and convicted on others for operating this crypto platform, which was used by many illicit operators, including North Koreans, to launder illicit crypto proceeds by having a method where customers would deposit their crypto into Tornado Cash's protocol. It would be mixed with crypto from other participants and then come out the other side and be much more difficult to trace. So this has become sort of a Rorschach test for the industry. Because he was convicted on one of the counts, people who want more regulation of crypto point to that as a win. Because the jury was deadlocked on other counts, the crypto true believers also view that as a win. But it's actually a mixed bag. So he is appealing the decision. People have donated to his defense and also to his appeal. And although the current administration is very friendly to crypto, even on the deadlock charges, he could be retried. So we're still in the early innings of both this case and of legal certainty for these types of transactions and business models in general. So we'll go over that in a second. So I'll oversimplify a little, but this is how Tornado worked. So you have these different users and they each put money into the Tornado proxy, and these transactions mix up all the crypto that's put in there. So whereas you could easily trace these users through the blockchain and see where their crypto came from, once you put it in the Tornado proxy and it's mixed around, then they issue some new tokens and it's harder to see where those tokens came from, and then they can pay other people with it and launder the money. And this uses something called a ZK snark protocol, which is zero knowledge succinct non-interactive proof. And that's a lot to swallow, but I'll just give you the 5,000 foot version of that. And again, I'm going to oversimplify it, but the math involved is very complicated, but a zero knowledge proof will verify something in a yes or no fashion without giving any additional information. So what does that mean? Let's say that I wanted to get into a bar and they wanted to make sure that I was over 21, and then I would show them my driver's ID, and that has information that is not necessary to prove that I'm over 21. It's got my picture on it, it's got my address, it's got the date when the license was issued, the date when it expires, it says whether I'm an organ donor, and it even has my birthday. And you might think, well, don't you need your birthday to know whether you're over 21? No, you don't need the exact date. You just need today's date, go back 21 years exactly, and then you need a yes/no answer. Was this person born more than 21 years before today's date minus 21 years exactly? So you don't need to know my exact date of birth. You don't need to know my age, my weight, my height, my picture, my address, and a zero knowledge protocol will provide just that info. And what happened here is that the person who was tried, they set up this Tornado proxy. They owned 30% of the tokens that are used, and then they altered the protocol so that it becomes a DAO, and they claim they had no further control over it, that it's running on its own. And so when the money launderers started using it, the founder, Storm, claimed he had no control over it, although because they were using it, the tokens that he owned related to it became much more valuable, so he was making money on it. Now, this is a pretty common argument that doesn't do very well with regard to investment advisors and commodity pool operators, with regard to registered investment advisors and commodity trading advisors, and it doesn't fly very well. And the argument is that I'm not doing this, the software is doing this. And so if you design a software program that will trade for a person, and then people trade with that, people like to claim, well, I'm not an investment advisor or a trading advisor for commodities because I'm not doing the trading, the software is. But you created the software. I'm like, right, but the software is not a person. Yeah, but you are, and they can go after you. And it's sort of a variation on the argument that when you're in college and you go to a frat party and they sell you the booze in the red cup and they claim that we're not selling booze, we're giving away the booze for free, we're just selling the red cups for $10. That argument doesn't work and this argument doesn't work. However, this did go to trial and it wasn't a slam dunk for either side. So the crypto press likes to say that Storm won this one, but he didn't. He was actually convicted on one of the counts, and on some of the other counts, it was not an acquittal, it was a hung jury, so he can be retried for those same counts. And numerous people in the crypto industry have donated to his defense and his appeal, so this still needs to be played out, and it's not in the final innings yet. So as I said, money launderers, including hackers from North Korea, were using Tornado Cash to deposit illicit funds, mix them up, and then take them out in a way that would be untraceable. So this is from the Treasury, FinCEN, and they sanctioned Tornado Cash in 2022. So U.S. citizens were banned from using Tornado Cash, and the government did try to prosecute the founder. So Roman Storm went to trial. So unless you don't watch the news, you probably noticed that we had a change in administration. And although Tornado Cash was sanctioned by the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, the new administration reversed the sanction and we're back to square one. But that doesn't help the founder of Tornado Cash, Roman Storm, who is still convicted. So he was convicted of one count of conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. And he announced he's appealing that verdict. And several members of the crypto community have donated to his defense and also his appeal. So what exactly does that mean, an unlicensed money transmitting business? Under U.S. laws, both federal and state, anyone who operates a business where you handle money for other people needs to have a license as something. So, if you are a bank, you have a license to take deposits and issue loans, and the deposits you take are from other people, and that's covered by your license. And that's why a lot of the Fintech apps partner with banks, because it's pretty difficult to start a bank from scratch and you need some type of license to operate. What if you don't want to be a bank? Well, if you deal with retail customers, you can also be a futures commission merchant or a retail foreign exchange dealer that's registered with NFA, the National Futures Association, and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And while I worked at the CFTC, I actually drafted the retail forex trading rules. So if you have any question about those, leave them below. So is there a reason that you don't have many more retail foreign exchange dealers? Yes. To do any type of retail forex dealing under that license, you would need at least $20 million before you open the doors. And then as you did more and more trading, the amount of net capital you have would go up from there. If you wanted to do other types of money transmitting, like what you see Western Union do, where you take cash from somebody and then you send it to somebody else and they get cash, you'd have to register with FinCEN, which is a subsidiary of the Department of Treasury, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. You'd register as a money service business on the federal level. And then for each state where you operate, you would have to register as a business that transmits money. So through FinCEN, you'd register as a money services business by filling out Form 107, FinCEN Form 107. And then all 50 states and DC have different requirements, and you need a license in each state that you operate. So for instance, in the District of Columbia, it says that everyone engaged in the business of money transmission needs a license issued by the superintendent. And some states have more onerous requirements than others. So generally what Fintech apps do if they want to do this 50 state licensing thing is they get their money services business registered with FinCEN by filling out Form 107, and then they'll start with a state that is easier to get an approval like Florida, and once they have that, they can start getting the other states. But you do need one in every state that you operate in, and if you don't have one yourself, you can work with a bank or with somebody else who is already registered as a money services business and a money transmission service in all 50 states and go that route. And there are pluses and minuses to both, but the legal basis of this case is pretty easy to understand. So if this person still controlled Tornado Proxy and was making money from the money laundering, where these people are trying to hide the origins of their illicit crypto by laundering it through Tornado, and he's making money, that's a clear violation. But the law doesn't permit you to do things indirectly that you're not allowed to do directly. So the fact that he set this up, set it to autopilot, and let the robot do the trading and mixing and laundering, but he still got the money, still got the benefit from the money laundering. The fact that you set this up in a way that people can use this and you're still making money from it, the fact that you had some code that stood between you and the mechanism to distance yourself, you're the one who created it. So that didn't carry much weight with the government. And even the jury, which was deadlocked on several of the charges, was able to find conspiracy on this one. So although this was sanctioned under the prior administration and desanctioned under this current administration, it could be resanctioned under the next administration. So the lesson you can take away is that if you're doing something that's close to the line, you don't want to rely on the kindness of strangers. And if what you're designing is going to be used by criminals, you shouldn't figure out a way to separate yourself from the crime and still prosecute it and still profit from it. You should find a way to keep the criminals out. Anyway, that's all I have for today. If you have questions about this or anything else, just leave them in the comments. My name is Pete, and I am an attorney with 25 years of experience in mergers and acquisitions and the financial markets, as a lawyer dealing with derivatives and fintech. And because I'm a lawyer, I will give you the disclaimer: this is not legal advice. Anything I've said here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be relied on, and I will not have a duty to update it. And nothing said here creates an attorney-client relationship between you and you should run anything you're doing and any questions you have by your own legal counsel. And if you'd like to work with me, either as an attorney or on a consulting basis, just reach out to me through my contact information in the profile. Have a great day, everyone.